Hi, good morning.
Hello.
Our very first talk show.
Yes. I'm Serena.
And I'm Cordova, and we both have backgrounds in wearable art. I've participated in 2 shows.
And I have participated in 3 years in a row, which was really fun.
Yes.
And now we're here to talk about fast fashion.
Yes.
Which is exciting.
Yes, and a huge topic. And a very broad, I mean, you can go in almost every direction when it comes to fast fashion. You can go down the environmental, you can go down the social, you can go down the manufacturing world, you can go down the retail world, wholesale. There's also an entire world of what 2020 has done to the fast fashion industry. So, do you want to start?
Sure, I think I'll just start with the question.
Sure.
For those who don't know, what is fast fashion?
Fast fashion is really hard to define because there is no one particular definition for it. It really comes down to ultimately the fast-paced production of garments. And so right now in our current world, well, maybe in 2019 era, there were 52 weeks of new trends being pushed out by big brands like Zara and Forever 21 and H&M, and that is fast fashion. What you see at Fred Meyer is fast fashion. What you see at all of these discounted big box stores is fast fashion. Anything with a very affordable, inexpensive price tag most likely is fast fashion, unless it's thrifted.
Why would the consumer care?
Yeah.
Well, it's cheap, right?
Yeah.
And so we're always looking for a good deal.
Yeah.
But these clothes, they don't last very long.
No.
And that's the huge issue here, is because then they end up in the landfill.
Yeah.
And so if we, were to spend a little more money on one clothing piece that, would last, and then it would stay in our closets and it wouldn't end up in the landfill. Yet we're spending the same amount of money on 5 items instead of purchasing one really nice item. And then they all just go in the landfill, or we donate it, and eventually it ends up in the landfill. Because it's not the quality clothing that is going to be sustainable for the long run.
And even if it does go to the landfill, which clothes inevitably do, which ones are going to biodegrade in 30 years versus 250 years? There is a total spectrum there, and you have to care when it comes to fast fashion, and it's like an alarming situation that we have, and most people are incredibly undereducated about it. When you follow a garment from the seed all the way to the production to the retail store, and you follow that trail, there are so many loopholes within that trail versus what the garment is actually retailing for that price versus what the store purchased for at the wholesale. And that wholesale doesn't directly always come from the designer. Sometimes the designer will send it out to, they call showrooms across the country, so they get a cut. The designer gets a cut. Then it goes to the manufacturer. And what's really interesting about the manufacturer, the ones in the US, we have regulations here, but the ones in Asia or India or Bangladesh is a really great example because they actually have standards, but the people who enforce those laws have stake in the retail and fabrication of these manufacturers, so they go unnoticed. So it's a huge vicious cycle, but you follow that all the way down, and a huge problem is that manufacturing company, they have to produce 50,000 units of this, Forever 21 top, for example. That brand will not buy it until after those 50,000 units are purchased. So what happened in 2020? All of these manufacturing companies were producing, like they normally would have, 80,000 units of jeans, 60,000 units of tank tops, whatever. March 2020 happened and the brand said, nope, we're not buying anything. So here you have these manufacturer companies that have hundreds of thousands of these huge fast fashion orders that they're just sitting on, didn't get paid for, and now can't afford to pay their garment workers. There's like 4.1 million garment workers that were put out of work within 1 month. And nobody gave a shit about it.
Nobody cares. And as the consumer, you go to buy an item, a garment, and you're not even thinking about all of that.
Who made it, where it came from, and the material that it was
the
used
source.
to create that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so let's lead that into kind of the social impacts that fast fashion is having around the world, like you were just mentioning. So these garment workers, all over the world are putting their lives at risk for a very low wage.
An incredibly disgusting low wage. Some of it is like 4 cents an item.
Yeah.
And they're working 12 to 16 hours a day. And if you see video footage of any of these manufacturing companies, they're dominated by women. And those women have their children and their babies sitting underneath the desk. There's no bathroom breaks. Like, there is, no manufacturing company is perfect, but the cheapest of the cheap is gonna have no regulations at all. There is a huge issue right now that's happening in Western China. That whole district, it is literally fast fashion nightmare. And right now there's no way of knowing on the tag of your clothes if it says made in China. There's no way to know which manufacturer actually produced it. It could have been a sustainable one in like southern China, or it could have been the slave-driven one in Western China. And so the social impacts is huge, and that is a whole other conversation that we could really dive into.
Definitely.
I heard recently, even if we just paid 4 cents more a garment, it would bring their salaries up to a living wage.
But then I ask, would it really? Because then in the control of, the billionaire that owns the company, because it's really comes down to their control.
Yeah.
But
they don't always know. They don't always know because they're so busy. They've gone through the whole course of designing the garment, and maybe that is they're the designer, and they link up with somebody who says, "I know how to make this garment made." Great, because they don't have any clue. So they rely on this person who relies, and it goes down to that chain. And the manufacturing world is very secretive, and it's very difficult to unearth all of that.
And so then how do we break this cycle? Does it come down to the government? Does it come down to us as an individual?
Completely as an individual.
Yeah, I would agree. In the consumer nation that we live in, we are just programmed to buy, and we always are wanting something new, and we're an easy target, and we've become a very easy target.
In the last handful of decades, we have completely turned the fashion industry on its head. Beginning early 1900s, everything was made for you. You went into the tailor, you were measured for that dress that you wanted, you picked the color, whatever. By the 20s, 30s, and 40s, with the Industrial Revolution, we started mass producing everything. And then the 60s came, and then all of a sudden we were on a roll, and by the time the 90s rolled around, you were all the time shopping, and then early 2000, the 52 weeks of fast fashion became a thing. And I've gone to these trade shows as part of my work here with the store, and there are multiple convention centers with different types of fashion that you can buy. And there's literally like a Centennial Hall sized floor of fast fashion, and it is disgusting because there is a first week of March delivery, a second week of March delivery, and it goes on, and there are literally 52 weeks of each delivery, and one delivery is anywhere between 4 to 10 pieces. That is too much. That is way too much.
Yeah, if we stopped now, we would be able to provide clothes to everyone for probably a lifetime.
If
so
we
really
stopped producing.
We need to stop producing, but that's really hard to do. And I think it's going to start with just making a more conscious effort when you're shopping. What am I buying? Where is it coming from? Just a little more connection
and consciousness, and
absolutely
focusing on, wait a minute, I'm not just buying this to buy it. Let's have a little bit of thought behind why I want to buy this.
Yes, not just blindly going into a store and shopping because you're in something that is maybe unsatisfactory to you at the time. Maybe stop going into stores at all if you are having an issue.
There's a list of brands that you can literally just you wouldn't even have to go in there anymore, and you would be a part of the solution.
Yeah, definitely. So let's talk about the effects on energy that fast fashion has.
It's insane. I mean, just the fast fashion industry alone is one of the top 3 polluters in the entire globe out of any industry. And that accounts for carbon dioxide emissions, that accounts for ecosystem and environmental degradation that happens just from dyes and simple, like even when you do a special wash on a jean. A lot of a cheap way to get around that is, instead of hand scraping it, is to just chemically braise them, and then you dump the chemicals in the river because there's no enforcement on that, and that chemical goes down into the watersheds, into the farmlands, and then down into the coral reefs.
Impacts our food, right? Would you say? And I guess totally. We can kind of lead into microplastics
in that way too.
Because, I mean, like you said, all of that waste will then go into our water source.
And that,
and that includes so many different chemicals, as, different fibers, dyes, plastics. And so we really have to be careful about where we are putting, these different toxins.
It matters. Yeah. And, I mean, when we're just talking about microplastics, a lot of that, what's insane is right now our current generation eats approximately like a credit card a week of plastics all combined, and that's coming out of our food sources, it's coming from our water supplies, it's coming from all these different sources.
I mean, it's all connected, right?
And one particular source is fast fashion in that industry. So fast fashion, those textiles are produced with a lot of like materials that are quickly and easily produced, like polyesters, which is an oil-based
very
synthetic
low grade.
Cheap and fast.
Cheap and fast.
But every time you wash that, every time you put it in your washing machine, it sheds a layer and goes down into our water systems, and that's the microplastics. So you are eating your clothes. In a very roundabout way. I don't think people really are aware of this either. No. I think just that's where the consciousness comes in again, is really doing things more ethically in all facets, like the way you wash your clothes, where you're shopping, the type of soap that you use.
All of that really does matter.
If you're using a harsh chemical soap, you're gonna have way more microplastics be shed from your clothing. If you dry them in the dryer versus hang drying, it's a whole process, and it really evolves and can become a huge issue. So, I mean, that really leads into, how do you avoid fast fashion? How do you get around it? And there's lots of ways, but it's hard if you're coming from our generation, where it's been like shop and find the best deals, and oh my god, Forever 21, it's like the best. No, it's not the best. Slow down. You actually don't need that many clothes ever in your wardrobe. I have got some cool examples I'd love to show you. Actually, right behind you. This was a collection from Alaska Fashion Week. These are cusbucks designed by Alice, and she's out of Nome. So
I love this.
This is her design. So this is a domestic designer, and she has them manufactured in St. Paul, Minnesota. So her issue right now is that in order for these to be in retail stores across the country or even across the state, that price has to raise, and she's afraid that she would outprice the customer and nobody would want to pay for something like this because she still wants a living wage. So I spoke with her on the phone, and she was very concerned, and she said, I want to have my cusbucks in the stores, but I can't manufacture in the US anymore. If I do that, I would have to go overseas. And I wanted to say, no, let's see if we can figure out another way to do that. So from a designer standpoint, that's one issue. Another neat brand here is Joa Brown. This is like everybody's favorite.
So soft.
Yeah, grab that. This is a great example of American-made, American-designed, and quality fabrics.
Where are these made?
LA.
LA, yes.
Right in downtown LA. You can walk past their manufacturing studio. So that if things are made in the US, they're gonna have a living wage. If things are made overseas, it's very questionable. So you should be looking at the tags. And you should be asking questions. Where did this come from? And what's it made of? And where is it made? Because those two things will tell you a lot and give you a really good foresight of what you're actually buying.
And you can find really good quality items at Salvation Army.
You can.
And so that's a great option.
Exactly.
You know, if you need something cheap, and don't go for those trend items that are just going to wilt within a couple days.
If you can't afford a brand new American-made shirt, it's going to last you, 10 plus years or whatever, then go to the thrift store. There's great finds there. If money's an issue, get secondhand. There's great pieces that are available.
Absolutely. That's where I do most of my shopping.
And so that middle ground, so there's kind of like these 3-tiered ways you can buy clothes. Thrifting, which is the bottom tier, but very sustainable because you're purchasing something that's secondhand and already made, already exists, and is already local.
Yeah, and that's a cycle within itself.
It is.
That can be talked about a lot, where that waste goes.
Exactly.
But that's a topic
then you
for
have
another day.
this like middle of the road, and this is like where most Americans live, where it's American Eagle, it's H&M, it's these $40 pair of jeans. That's a huge issue. If you're spending under $60 for a pair of jeans, that's a huge red flag, because a pair of jeans usually take about 1,800 liters of water per jean. Most of those brands will wash that water away, and it goes down into the waterway system. You want jean brands that will either recycle that, or they found a way to reduce that water usage. So this middle of the road is what you have to watch out for, because that's manufactured overseas, and there's just a lot of gray area of where this is made. Then you have this higher tier of domestically made or domestically designed or like one of a kind. Here's another great example. This is made here in Juneau. This is made with Italian leather. This is walrus tusk that's been fossilized. This is expensive, but it also provides a living wage to somebody here in town.
It's that connection.
And this thing, you could run it over with the car a few times and I don't think it's gonna break on you. It's very, very well made. Versus this, you could get a lookalike one for probably like $20. And I don't know if it will make it to the end of the day.
So what are some brands that we should avoid?
The ones that I've just mentioned. Anything that's a big
Zara,
box store.
Urban Outfitters, Fred Meyer's.
Yeah, unfortunately. I do like Fred Meyer.
It's do what you can. We can't be perfect.
No.
So obviously we don't have many places to shop in Juneau.
Right.
And so Fred Meyer's is, kind of the only option for
a long time.
new items. And that's okay, but how often are you buying those items and
how
going
much?
back and that's something too.
Slow that down. And this is like not a call to go through your closet and like throw everything out that's made, by H&M or Forever 21. Like, that's not the point.
That's like the last thing you should be doing.
Yeah. The point is just from this moment on, pay attention to what you're buying. Where is it made? Who made it? And is it going to last you?
Maybe go into your closet and see how you can rework the items that you already have, and find a deeper connection with them. You bought them, so why did you buy them? And then that's really the psychology of your own spending, and why you're spending, and it's an internal process that each one of us should be going through.
So from here on out, draw that line for yourself and pay attention to what you buy.
So what are some good brands that we could look to for sustainable?
Everything in the store. Not everything, but you want stuff that's locally made. You want stuff that's made in the US. We need to get back to that mindset of really caring where our things are made, because it does matter. It really matters. And you can also just ask wherever you're shopping and you pick up a garment. you're gonna ask about it. Where did this come from? How did it get to this store?
Sure.
You should be able to ask that, and whoever is working at that store should be able to tell you. If they can't tell you, maybe they don't know, maybe they didn't actually, they're not the owner of the store or something.
But fill in the blank spaces, you know,
Yeah.
do what feels right as well. But we should, bottom line, be asking these questions.
Yeah. It comes up every once in a while. Somebody will come to me and say, hey, can you carry this line of jeans? And I'll say, okay, maybe, and I'll go through my phone and I'll look. There's actually a really great app. It's called Good On You, and it tells you, you can look up that brand and it will tell you, like, it will give you, 3 stars or 5 stars based on its sustainability. How does it treat its workers? How does it fare and on an environmental standpoint and all of that. So Good On You, get the app, use that app.
That's good to know. Anything else you
Yeah.
want to talk about?
I was finished saying that jean. So that person really wanted me to carry this line of jeans, right?
Okay.
So I'm going through and I'm looking, trying to find where it's manufactured, and literally couldn't find it.
Yeah.
That's like, to me, that's like, no. I'm not even gonna waste my time
Definitely.
any further. These jeans are retailing for $30.
Yeah.
I would never make a pair of jeans myself and get paid $30.
Yeah, and fashion is art. And
Yeah.
we're kind of robbing the artist.
You are.
These trends, they're robbing the artists of, what they've designed.
Yeah.
Just by making it cheaper, by using, less quality ingredients and
Yeah, to produce that
fabrics.
higher
and,
volume.
Yeah.
We don't need any more. We could
Yeah.
use less, but we could use better quality.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.